Hi, this is Mrs. Choma, and I'll be speaking to you today about confirmation and about other coming of age rituals from other cultures and religions. So, confirmation is accepting responsibility for your faith and destination as you move into adulthood. It's not just another coming of age ritual. So, let's take a look at some rituals that you might already be aware of, and perhaps you've even attended them. So, the first one is a quinceañera. So, the quinceañera is a celebration of a girl's 15th birthday. And while this celebration has its cultural roots in Mexico, it's celebrated throughout Latin America. This birthday is celebrated differently from any other because it marks the transition from childhood into young womanhood. Historically, years prior to their 15th birthday, girls were taught cooking and weaving and about childbearing from some of the elders in their community. And this was in preparation for their future as wives and mothers. And while this is not a religious event, you could see in the picture on the left that Mass is often part of the celebration. Another rite of passage is a vision quest, which is a practice of many Native American tribes. They believe that prior to reaching puberty, you are to take a journey or a vision quest alone in the wilderness and connect with your inner self and find profound meaning and direction in your life. This vision quest is considered an initiation or a rite of passage into adulthood. Prior to the vision quest, the seeker prepares for the journey by fasting and receiving guidance from the tribal medicine man. During the vision quest, the intent is that the seeker should make contact with a spirit force. And on the screen, you see the elders on top, the medicine man, and on the bottom, you see the seeker sitting in a circle looking out over the wilderness. The seeker goes into the wilderness without food and water and fends for himself or herself for 2 to 4 days. When the child has reached the point where he or she comes to his or herself, they may then return to the tribe. Upon returning to the tribe, if their life path that they saw and discovered on their vision quest was that of a medicine man or a boat maker or a shaman, then they would work with an elder and begin an apprenticeship in that field. And another coming of rite passage that you might be familiar with and have already attended is a bar or a bat mitzvah. The first use of bar mitzvah for the Jewish coming of age ritual seems to date back to the 15th century. But in the 19th century, it changed to include more preparation to ensure that the religion and the tradition were handed down and carried on properly. The preparation for the bar or the bat mitzvah is 1 year prior to the ceremony. In preparation, the candidate has to do a project which they have to research in depth, and it is a project that it is similar to a charity drive. Young men and women who are bar or bat mitzvah publicly pledge to love, honor, and keep holy the Torah. During the celebration, they're called to read from the Torah, to chant, and to give a speech. So how are these things like confirmation? Well, there's an acknowledgement by other people in the community that the candidate is prepared and ready to be responsible for their life and for their faith. There's also a learning component in all of them where they spend time with an elder and learn or prepare. And there's also a component of doing some kind of work together with the community and some kind of charity work. Yet our sacrament of confirmation is not confined to a certain age, like, puberty or adolescence. Confirmation can be celebrated at any time as long as the pastor feels the person is ready, and it's frequently done at the Easter Vigil. So what makes confirmation different? Well, for one, confirmation is a sacrament, and a sacrament is an outward sign of an inner grace. And that inner grace that's happening at that time allows us to live in the life and love of God. During that time, the Holy Spirit descends upon each and every one of you and strengthens the gifts that you already have. But now they are being strengthened in a way that you know and you've been prepared to use these gifts. You're also being sealed by the Holy Spirit, and this is a seal that can never, ever be undone. And most wonderfully, in my opinion, is that confirmation is like your own personal Pentecost. And if you read in Acts 2 from Acts of the Apostles were sitting in a room, and all of a sudden a wind came in like a gale force. And the Holy Spirit descended upon each of them and enabled them to proclaim the good news without fear. So it enabled the disciples to overcome any kind of fear and their human weaknesses and go out and proclaim the gospel and evangelize. And that's what you are also called to do. And I believe that you have a project where you're going to be called to evangelize that is going to be in conjunction with this presentation. So I hope that you enjoy, and I will be praying for you as you continue to move towards the sacrament of confirmation.